Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. I am your host, Mike. I got some movies today to show you guys and recommend. Some of these movies I just got one of these just recently, and really interesting movie. So let's get right to it, guys. Got some really cool stuff here. First up, this is a movie I got recently and was really surprised by. It's really interesting. This is from Kino Classics. Love Kino Classics. Man, they just keep pulling out these movies that, like, I never heard of it. And then you end up loving it and stuff. So this movie was really curious. It's called The Night of the Following Day. And came out in 1969. And it stars Marlon Brando and Richard Boone. And gosh, who's the other person? Rita Moreno. But at this time, Marlon Brando had a great physique. He was working out. He had muscle. He was lean. Everything, you know. And then a couple years later, by the time he does The Godfather, he started gaining all this weight. And by the time Apocalypse Now came around, he was just huge. I mean, it caused filming problems for that movie, which is well documented. But enough about that. It doesn't matter. If he was big as a house, he's a great actor. But this movie I had never heard of. You know, they don't talk about it as much. You know, when they talk about Marlon Brando, they show documentaries and stuff. They never really talk about this. It's a great movie. It takes place in France. A group of people kidnap a wealthy businessman's daughter. They take her from the airport. It's goes off without a hitch, and they get back and they're hiding out at this seaside house that's like right on the beach. It's very rural, very out of the way, and things start coming undone, as they always do in these, you know, types of stories and movies. Things start coming undone. I really like the performance of Richard Boone. He was in a lot of, or he was in this one Randolph Scott movie, The Tall T. He was really good in it. It's a great underrated actor, Richard Boone. But anyways, he's just a really disgusting bad guy in this movie. He's really bad. Marlon Brando's didn't really want to work with him, but you know, they worked with him. His girlfriend, Rita Moreno, is a secret drug addict. I mean, she's on heroin. She forgets to pick up the guys from, you know, after call. You know, they would leave the house and call. They, you know, make the ransom stuff from the payphone, and you know, she didn't come back to pick them up, so it was kind of foiling things. And the other thing is, there's a cop that lives down the street from him. They're basically down the road. He fishes off the, you know, the beach where they are. He starts suspecting things later on, but you know, they start running into him more and more. It's like casually running into him, and it's like, oh shit, the cop, you know. So really good tension in this movie. He's got a lot of good tension. Some scenes where you're just like, oh man, you know, where you're just like, ooh. So some really good tense movie. It's a really good kidnapping movie. The Night of the Following Day. If you haven't heard of it, check it out, guys. It's really good. Really good looking print from Kino. So check that one out. Next up, I have another kind of underrated movie from the 70s. Or actually, this is from 1981. I'm sorry, 1981. This had previously come out on a Twilight Time Blu-ray, and it is out of print and so expensive. I wanted to find this movie. I read some stuff about it. It's called Cutter's Way, starring the great Jeff Bridges and also John Hurd. It's also got a good performance by Lisa Eckhorn. But it's a great movie. John Hurd is a disabled Vietnam vet. This takes place, I don't know if it takes place in 81, but I think it takes place in the 70s. And he's all he got blown up in Vietnam. He lost an eye. He walks with a limp. He has a limb, a fake limb on his leg. His arm is all messed up. So he drinks a lot. He's an alcoholic and blah blah blah. Cutter, who's played by Jeff Bridges, is his best friend. Lives with him. Lisa Eklund is John Hurt's girlfriend, and there's some tension there between Jeff Bridges and her, you know, liking each other. I mean, the other guy's just an alcoholic. He's abusive to her and all this stuff. And a really cool movie, very good dramatic performances. They cook up a plan that they're going to extort money from this guy who basically owns the marina, owns all this real estate in the town. I wouldn't say he owns the whole town, but he owns a lot. He's a very powerful man, a very sinister guy. He kind of owns the cops, and you know, he murders this girl, which first gets them interested in him. The sister of the murdered girl gets a hold of Cutter because Cutter had accidentally seen the murder that night. He saw her body sticking out of a garbage can, and he didn't say anything to it because his car broke down. He was drunk. He walked home. The cops investigated the next day. They saw his car, ran the plates. They come pick him up. He's on the front page of the newspaper now, and he has nothing to do with it. So he's trying to clear his name. The cops don't believe him. They think he did it. So they're going to extort the money out of this guy because the big millionaire killed the girl. He's got a thing where he's killing prostitutes or young girls and different stuff, picking them up and killing them, you know. So they cook up this plan to extort the money, and it all just reconvenes at this point at the end of the movie. And I don't want to tell you what happens. I mean, it kind of ends. It kind of ends differently. It kind of ended where I didn't really want it to end. But you be the judge of it. Check this movie out. You can find it. This is an early MGM DVD, mid 2000s. You can get these pretty cheap. Because I wanted to see the movie. I wasn't worried about what edition it was on or if it was on Blu-ray or none. So check that out. Cutter's Way. It's an interesting drama. Next up, here's a movie I picked up recently at Walmart. They had a series of slipcase Universal movies, different ones like Man Who Knew Too Much, The Birds, different stuff. Universal movies with vintage art series slipcase. So I picked up one movie that I didn't have by John Wayne. It's called The Hellfighters. It's got Catherine Ross and Jim Hutton in it. And this movie, gosh, when did this come out? It came out like 69, 68 or 69. So it's John Wayne in his later career. He plays a firefighter, like an oil well firefighter, like putting out oil wells and oil derricks, catching on fire and stuff like that. So it's kind of a drama between John Wayne and Jim Hutton, who's his son. He's kind of the ladies' man, he's good looking, drives a fast car, has a different woman every night. Kind of opens showing him like this. He's just a swinging 60s guy, but he's also a hell fighter by day, which is funny. But there's a, Catherine Ross settles him down, and love interest and stuff. So it's kind of a silly movie in a way, but has some great fire scenes and stuff like that in it. It's also cool to see the Duke later on in a non-Western role, stuff like that. So Hellfighters was well worth it. It was only $5, it's the DVD. I had my eye on it on Amazon for a while, but went ahead and pulled the trigger. But yeah, it's got different artwork. I mean, this is the original artwork, and then vintage art series. So there you go, guys. The Hellfighters. If you're a John Wayne fan and you're collecting all his movies, you've got all his westerns, and you're like, what should I do now? I want more Duke. Well, collect his non-western movies, silly. Just like I'm doing. So if you're a big fan of the Duke, do that. Next up, I have a movie, Michael Caine, Donald Sutherland, and Robert Duvall. You think, man, that's quite a big starring cast. Well, it is, and it's directed by John Sturges, guys. It's called The Eagle Has Landed. This was John Sturges' last movie, and he basically went out. I don't know what people say about this movie. Quentin Tarantino has been quoted as saying some of his favorite directors went out with horrible movies. You know, they didn't end at the top of their game. You know, like they should have stopped at this picture and knew when to retire and knew when to stop making movies, instead of making, because, you know, say a legendary director, Don Siegel, for example, he directs Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. Great movie. He should have ended his career right then and retired, but Don Siegel made 2 more really, really horrible movies after that. So that's what he's remembered by. You know, he went out like poop, you know, and that's what Quentin Tarantino was saying, and what he's even saying about his own career, because he's like, you know, I'm going to go out on the top. I don't want to go out making my worst film, but, you know, we don't believe that. Tarantino's not going to do that. But anyways, this was John Sturges' last movie. The Eagle Has Landed. You know, he made such classics as The Magnificent Seven. Gosh, too many to even mention. I mean, he's a great director. He made some seriously good stuff. But this is a movie, I like it. It was really good. I don't know what... Some people have said different things about it, but I think he ended pretty good. I think what he was Quentin Tarantino was saying about John Sturges in this movie was that John Sturges went, you know, he's quoted, he said this during the making, that he only did it for the money, because he wanted the money to fund a deep sea fishing trip, you know, out on a boat way out catching, you know, big fish, you know, and stuff. And that was his passion, was deep sea fishing. So he just did the movie just to fund a trip, which, you know, hey, that's his money. He worked for it, you know, but that's how he went out, and I guess people really stick to that, what he said, instead of just the movie. But the movie is really good. It's a World War II movie. Robert Duvall, Michael Caine, and Donald Sutherland play, I think they're Nazis in this. It's also got, God, who else is in this? I forgot who else was in this. Well, a Nazi strike force plots to kidnap Winston Churchill while he's resting in a desolate village. Colonel Rattle, played by Duvall, Colonel Steiner, played by Caine, and Liam Devlin, played by Sutherland, are enlisted to carry out the operation, which, if successful, would inevitably, just irrevocably alter the outcome of the war. Disguised as Polish airmen, these paratroopers descend upon England, only to be interrupted by an unforeseeable incident which threatens to derail their treacherous mission. So what we have here, guys, is we're seeing the movie from the Nazis' point of view. Like, we're seeing the Nazi mission instead of the Nazi mission, and then we got the US or the British coming in and defeating the Nazis. What we're seeing is a Nazi plan that goes down and fails. So we're seeing it from their point of view, which I thought was interesting, because you don't see a lot of World War II movies like that in the genre. You don't really see it. So, but great movie. This is a really cool combo pack, Blu-ray DVD pack. Eagle Has Landed. This is from Shout, and I think you can find this pretty economically on Amazon. I think that's where I found it. But yeah, good movie. The Eagle Has Landed. Check it out, guys. I like the movie. I don't know if it has a bad reputation, to tell you the truth. Next up was a really good movie. Very surprised at this movie. I had never seen it. Never seen it. Love the original. Everybody loves the original. What I'm talking about is Psycho 2. Never seen Psycho 2. This is a great addition from excuse me, Scream Factory. It has a lot of interviews on here. Great directing job by Richard Franklin, who did some great stuff in Australian director. Excuse me. But what happens is, this is like 20 years later. We're doing it in real time. So this is 1981. Perkins is fresh out of jail. He gets out on just a legal red tape thing where they accidentally did something, and now he's free. But he comes out. He gets out of jail. It's got a really good role by Robert Loggia. He plays his kind of like his therapist, and he's kind of getting him resettled and stuff back into, you know, normal life. And he gets a job at a diner that's like just in walking distance from the famous Psycho house. Eventually, just people talk about him, and there's all this, you know, stuff, murderer, you know. But he has plans on getting the motel back, that, you know, the motel below the Psycho house that him and his mother ran in the original. So after that, I don't want to give away anything of this movie. It's such a great horror mystery. It's got some jump scares. And I think the big star of this movie is Meg Tilly. She did such a great job in this movie. Really cool. I was so surprised that this movie would be as good as it was. I've also not seen Psycho 3 or 4. I haven't seen those. And I haven't seen the scene-for-scene remake from 1998 that Gus Van Sant made. I haven't seen that either. So Psycho 2, highly recommended. I think there's a couple of versions on Blu-ray from Scream Factory that has been released. I got this one. I think I like the artwork better on this edition, though. Next up, this is a movie, and this is unfortunately the last movie, guys. This is from Warner Archive. This is a movie called Under the Rainbow, starring Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher, and a cast of little people. Now, what this movie is, it takes place during 1939 when they're filming Wizard of Oz, and they had during the Wizard of Oz they had to, you know, find all these little people to be the Munchkin. So basically, what it is, it's showing like the little people staying, you know, in hotels and having drunken parties, drunken orgies, just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And there's a subplot with Billy Barty as like a Nazi spy or something, doing something, which this movie got panned when it came out and stuff. And I remember growing up and seeing this a lot on like HBO and stuff. So I guess it's one of those movies I kind of grew up with. You may not have heard of it. It's kind of obscure nowadays, but Under the Rainbow is pretty cool. It's kind of cool to see Carrie Fisher in a dramatic role, you know, not being Princess Leia. And let's see, when did this come out? This came out in 1981. And it's pretty cool to see Chevy Chase. He kind of plays it pretty normal. You know, he's not doing any pratfalls, he's not doing any big things, but pretty funny movie. It's got some funny scenes. But overall, you know, it's just a great movie. But if you want to see, you know, what that was like, I mean, it's rumored that the little people did all these things, but it's never been confirmed. Some of the little people have wrote in their autobiographies that, you know, that didn't go on. There was some parties, but not like this, you know. So it's worth a look, guys. I got this really cheap on Amazon, actually. I think it was like $6.99, $6.98. I even had a instant coupon where sometimes you can check on the coupon and you get like another $1 or $2 off. So I ended up paying like, you know, $4, $5 with tax. So it was a good deal. You know, not too much invested. So good, you know, great, interesting little movie to say the least. But those are all my releases today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell, the notification bell, and comment on these movies. What did you think about them? Give me some feedback. I love hearing from you guys. And also like the movie, like this episode if you liked this episode, not the movie. Like it, or you can like it based on what movies I show. Hey, like it. So anyways, guys, I'm Mike. I'm out of here. Be cool. Be safe. Don't take any wooden nickels. I don't know. I'll see you guys next time.